politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the feed.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Rockingham. It's Mike and Marty on the feed. Here we are. It's March 23rd, 2022. We're into spring. Starting to feel like spring, isn't it? It's really nice.
Well, it's spring in the sunshine. It's still winter in the shade.
That's true.
It's
Yeah.
a little chilly out.
And it should be, you would think that the sap would be running, but I understand that it's very poor this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Not quite cold enough at night?
Well,
Or
I
not
think
warm
this
enough for
week
day?
could be good because it's like below freezing, but I guess it got really too warm again really fast, and then now it's going back into this whole thing. Hopefully it gets
Going
better.
back into the tree and going, no, I don't want to come out.
I know. Local events with Marty.
First thing, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks that were involved in No Exit. The premiere was last Wednesday night, right? No, last Thursday night.
Last Thursday night.
And a great turnout from the local audience, and it was a great premiere. It was a good job.
Yeah, really well done.
It
And
was.
good turnout, yeah.
Yeah. So just a shout out to everybody associated with No Exit. The classic movie this week is Chinatown. There's a classic for you. It is sponsored by Morgana Mysteriosa and Ned Green. Again, all seats are $6, and it starts at 7:00. And I don't have a flyer on it yet, but I'll make sure I get it for next week. There is going to be another live theatrical performance at the Opera House. David Stern and his company, the Wild Goose Players, have been diligently practicing and building sets because they're going to be premiering Into the Woods at the end of April. So I'll have hopefully a flyer for next week,
Yeah.
and we'll try to get David
We
in.
try to get David on because it's
to
another
talk about
interesting
Yeah.
classic.
Oh, it's a
theater.
classic. It's
Yeah.
all of the classic fairy tales woven into one storyline.
Great.
So it's pretty cool. So that's all I've got for local events.
Oh, and today we have Erica Lee, welcome Erica, and Zach Labelle from Turning Point South. And Turning Point South, as I understand, is a new program that's coming. It's open in Bellows Falls now. You're getting your feet on the ground, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about it. Zach first.
Sure. So Turning Point South is a drop-in center from Turning Point of Springfield. Up in Springfield's Recovery Center, and we have a couple different support groups, including FAR. We have a meditation group on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m., and we have recovery coaches that can do meetings on site, and AA meetings and NA meetings.
Neat. Erica, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So tell me, first of all, where is it?
It's the carriage house right behind Parks Place.
Oh, okay.
44 School Street Extension, I believe.
So are you there full time? Is it like 5 days a week or 7 days a week or?
It's like 5 days a week, like midday. But there's a sign on the door. If you need anything, call the number, and someone will get in touch with you. But it's a drop-in center, so it's not like 40 hours a week at this point.
Right.
Are you hoping that at some point it
Yeah.
will become as
Yeah.
active as the Springfield one? It's just, it takes time.
It takes
'cause,
time.
Yeah, it's only been, not even a year you guys have been there, right?
Yep, about a year. Yeah, it'll be a
Yeah.
year in middle of summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
But conveniently located because it's right near Parks Place, right
Yeah.
in their backyard. And
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about FAR, because I don't know if sometimes people don't know the acronyms.
Yeah.
FAR is Family Addiction Recovery. So we do a support group once a week on Wednesdays for family members and friends of people who struggle with substance use disorder, just to be a support and place for people to go. We also do one-on-one for family members as well as people who are struggling with substance use.
Nice.
So
Well,
go
I
ahead.
was just going to say that's important. It's important because sometimes the families need as much help as the folks that are addicted. So
Yeah, definitely.
And what types of support do you offer then?
We do one-on-one coaching with family or people who are struggling. We also have the FAR group for the family members and friends. We have AA meetings, NA meetings, the Buddhist group we do. He knows more about that.
No, we'll have to talk about that more. But it's essentially talk is what
Yes.
happens. Do you connect people to resources in the community? Like if people were I don't know, looking for jobs or transportation or connections to social services, would you help with that?
Most definitely. So we're partnering with Working Fields, which they have an office in Springfield, but it's helping people get jobs that might have a criminal background or just someone new to recovery that's just struggling trying to find a job. Link them up with Working Fields where they get a coach one-on-one and try to find a job that best fits their specialties, I guess,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
lack of.
Yeah,
So.
okay.
Yeah, it's a temp agency, and not only do they give you the employment, but they also assign you a recovery coach.
Uh-huh.
So you get to meet with a coach once a week and have that additional support.
Boy, that has to be really good, because I can imagine one of the primary things is jobs. I mean, that it's just, so many people identify with what they do for work becomes their sort of persona. And it's, that work piece is really fundamental to recovery, I imagine. But
Oh, and newly, Working Fields has a van, so people who don't have transportation or license can get to and from work.
neat,
Nice.
neat.
That's important too, because oftentimes that's a
Barrier.
barrier. Yeah, and there's lots of there's lots of barriers, and it
Barriers.
sounds like what you guys do is you help people break those barriers down,
Yep.
setting them up more for success than society sets us up for failure. But so we got to work through those barriers.
Of course, yeah, and connecting people with counseling services, MAT services,
What are MAT services?
like medicated assisted treatment.
Oh.
A lot of people are taking that route, and we partner with like Savita and Better Life Partners, and
Uh-huh.
yep. So that's something that we've been starting to do. We're also in the Springfield and Mount Scottney Hospital as recovery coaches. So we got a lot of things going on in the community.
Okay. When you talk about medically assisted treatments, what does that mean?
And-
See, I like,
yeah.
I know you guys are in this all the time, but for some of us that are outside, we don't understand what all the terminology means. Like medically assisted, what does that mean?
So you have like Suboxone, methadone, naltrexone, Vivitrol. Basically, some are opiate blockers, and basically there's a doctor, and you work with a doctor, and help you get off street drugs, I guess is the layman's terms for it. Get off because the fentanyl craze right now is wiping out communities, and so. It's different than it was, 10 years ago. Trying to get off opiates. It's a lot better success rates, I guess, is the best.
So
Oh, okay.
medication helps with the physical symptoms.
It helps alleviate the urges or
Yeah.
the withdrawal
Yep.
symptoms,
Exactly.
and it's true for both alcohol and opiates, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So you were both recovery coaches, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So do you want to speak a little bit to your how you became a recovery coach?
Sure.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. So I'm from Burlington originally. I went to I was addicted to heroin and whiskey. Those were my two things, and went to treatment many times. And my last time in treatment, I went to sober living at Turning Point, and that was the kind of what I needed after treatment. I kind of didn't follow through with anything leaving treatment, and just went back to the same old. And so I went there and at Turning Point got linked up with services and got a job, and then COVID happened, and then I'm a cook by trade, and I went to Recovery Coach Academy, and then did it part-time, and finally started doing this full-time now. So it's I like being a support for somebody else because someone was support to me.
Yeah. So, just again, for clarification, Turning Point is, I know of Turning Point in Springfield, but Turning Point is actually a much larger organization, right?
Yeah, I think there's 13
Uh-huh.
spread across the state.
And is it just in Vermont, or is it in other states also?
The one in Vermont is just Vermont.
Yeah, okay.
It's its own.
But there's 13 Turning Points currently in Vermont.
Yeah, I think it's 13.
Wow. That's
It's a pretty
neat.
big network, and they've grown. I think, like with the reach that they have. We were talking before we got on the air that this recovery coach approach is fairly
Fairly new,
fairly
like
new.
5 or 6
I
years
mean,
old. isn't
AA's
it?
been around since like forever, but the recovery coach approach is fairly new, but it's seeing a lot more success from what I understand. Would that be an accurate assessment?
Yeah.
And because and I think we've also touched on this before, but to kind of reiterate to the audience so they understand, recovery coaching is different than AA, and it's more, AA had a certain like very definitive parameters,
Yeah.
which worked for a lot of people
Yeah.
and still work, but didn't work for everybody. And that's how recovery coaching was born, is to be more, is it more tailored to what the actual
Yes.
person needs?
Yep, 100%. We meet people where they're at. So no matter where you are on your path, we're there to support you and encourage you to help you succeed at your goals.
And what does that look like? Like what is a,
Phone calls and meetings once a week, just going over, what's going on in your life, what we can do to help you find resources, just to help you be successful.
nice. And I think I saw on your website that you've now branched into youth recovery coaches.
Yes. Yep, that has gained a ton of traction. It's super important to get ahead of it.
Yeah, because I think that was, we were talking before we went on air, that was an area that was seriously lacking. Yeah. And so if there's youth out there, so how does someone connect with you? What's the easiest and best way to connect if they're in a bad spot and they just want to maybe make that first phone call? Or whatever?
Call Turning Point, but then we also have a peer support line. It's 802-234-1010. And that is on 24/7, and you can call it, and myself or one of the recovery coaches will answer, and link you up with services on the spot, or help you out, walk you through something, talk you through something, and link you up. And also like the recovery coaching back to the AA and NA, it's like multiple pathways. That's what we support. It's multiple pathways to recovery. Obviously, abstinence is like, one of the hardest things. So taking your time to get to that point, and there's multiple pathways. Just I can't say that enough.
What is there a saying? I think it's Mike saying any and all pathways. Is that?
Yeah.
Any and all pathways to recovery,
Exactly.
which is believe it or not, fairly new thinking.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was frowned upon for a long time, the Medicaid assisted treatment, but they're seeing such success rates. I'll come out and say I was on the wagon of MAT, and it changed my life, and it helped me rebuild my life. So yeah, I'm definitely a supporter. I tried doing it without it, and it just
It kind of makes sense because it's a disease, right?
yeah.
So we treat other diseases with medicine till people can maybe like say somebody has high blood pressure and they go on high blood pressure meds. Maybe they don't have to stay on them forever, but
Right,
they get
as
their
they
life in
adjust.
order. Yeah, and then they can maybe come off.
Taper
So
off, yeah.
if we can kind of have that outlook, then if it works, then why not use it?
Exactly.
So I also wanted to ask a little bit more about the meditation
Yeah.
that you have. That's in and of itself is a
It's really
good
cool.
approach.
Yeah, so we have a local llama named Tomas, and he's been heavily involved with Turning Point South. He's there daily, and he does morning meditation. He's also leading the NA support group. The morning meditation, you can also join in via Zoom, which is, really great for people that don't exactly want to leave their house. It's 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. So you can tune in with Tomas, and he's traveled the country and the world doing, his services.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he come to be at Turning Point?
So, I know he was involved before he traveled last time, but he went to Recovery Coach Academy, and working for a different organization. But he just came back, I think within the last year.
Yeah. Cool.
And he just wanted to get involved and found a place that he wanted to like spend his time. And we're really lucky to have him.
Hmm. That sounds really like a great program. And again, it's that whole
Different.
every pathway.
Yeah.
It's just so refreshing. That
Yeah.
It's like,
It brings a smile to my face for sure.
yeah, that's really cool. How would you say most people get connected? Do they walk in? Are they recovery coaches that are attached? I know that there's certain events that happen. I think that if people go to the hospital with an overdose, they're automatically connected. If they may be involved with law enforcement, they're automatically connected. And then families can sort of refer. But where would you say the majority of people come from?
The emergency department?
Think
What do
so?
you think, Zach?
Yeah, emergency department, and we're also doing Springfield Outreach program, and that's like an overdose. After an overdose, we get a referral, and then meet with the person with a social worker from that is a liaison for the police department, and that's another way to get to the people that might need services.
But it's almost like it's an automatic referral, right? Right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's something new too, is the
Yes.
idea that the police automatically connect you, that there's an automatic connection to, ideally, to hopefully preventing an overdose from happening again, if they can be
Yeah.
connected right away. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a new school of thought as
Yeah.
well. More proactive than reactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about the impact of COVID, and how has that impacted Turning Point and sort of, I'd heard initially, maybe not right when COVID started, but maybe 6 months in, that actually overdoses and drug usage were going up. Is that tapered? Is it like a sign? Does it go up and down, or how would you what do you think about that, or do you see a difference?
I think drugs are getting cheaper. I feel like it's climbing.
Still,
I mean, it's there's so much work to do.
really.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go away anytime soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's like almost like a rebound effect of like what people call COVID fatigue. We were all locked down for so long, and maybe we dealt with that, but maybe now getting back out, and there's just a lot more to deal with. You did mention, just in the way of moving things forward, that now you are federally licensed as recovery coaches, which means it can be a Medicaid bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's huge for folks figuring out, how am I going to pay for this, or how am I going to get all this done? So has that opened up doors and made things easier? Or, I know it's more paperwork, but.
Yeah, we got nationally certified through Recovery Partners of Vermont, and that happened last February. So that was a
Nice.
big piece. Exciting, really exciting.
So that means that we can now work in a lot of different places we couldn't work before. Our services at Turning Point are always no charge, so that doesn't really affect that, but it brings us to more places.
Nice.
Yeah, but it works to bring you funding too, right?
Yes.
Because before, everything was sort of grant funded, and you lived from grant to grant. So this must be at least better in that sense, in that you can count on a revenue stream, and because of that, you could plan.
Yeah.
That, I don't know,
I think
that's
it's
the
going to
administrator in
be.
me coming out.
It's still in the works, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike's a planner.
Yeah, well, no, it's just
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
It's hard to
go
work
from
a
grant to
program
grant.
if you have a year's funding and you don't know where the next funding's going to come from. It's really hard to build something that can last, and I'm sure you guys must feel better that you have.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Now, I know in the past, you, at Turning Point, there were some like public events that you would have. Are you moving, and then, of course, COVID shut everything down. Are you moving more towards having, like, didn't you used to have like a big.
Rock for Recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yep,
was
we'll be
trying to
doing that
remember.
again, for
Yeah.
sure.
We did it last year.
Yeah, and then we did the Recovery Gala. celebrating partners, community partners, but still trying to figure out, navigate through these times about events. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing some outside events for sure.
Nice.
So how do you feel about being in Bellows Falls? Because I didn't get, Erica, do you live in Bellows Falls? You commute down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But,
live in Springfield as well, but I grew up in Bellows Falls.
Oh, okay.
So it's really important for me to be back here and being a part of the solution.
yeah.
Nice.
Do you like the place at Parks Place? They really do a nice, the carriage house especially is very nice.
Yeah, it is.
Nice
It's
setting.
clean. Yeah, like
Yeah.
intimate. It's not like big. So that I like that piece. People come in, and it's not like crowded or anything. And we got the nice meeting room upstairs, and then there's a one-on-one office right as you walk in. So it's nice.
Yeah. If you were to say what would you want from the community of Bellows Falls? If you could ask for anything or say something to them, like, what would that be?
Stop in. Just stop in. That definitely just stop in and show support. That's basically the biggest piece.
Yeah. Do you see people stopping in? Is that because Parks Place is a pretty busy place? I mean, there are
Of
a lot
course,
yeah.
of course. I just started coming down in like January, and this
Uh-huh.
is the slow period. Megan said, and from Parks Place, and so hopefully we're starting to get foot traffic. Yes,
Mhm.
from the support groups, and trying to get more one-on-one coaching, and trying to get more foot traffic and get
Yeah.
the word out that we're
And you have that meditation group that's on Wednesdays. That's
at 8 a.m. Yep.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's support groups. We just gotta work on getting more foot traffic and
Mhm.
letting
Spreading
people-
awareness
yeah,
that we're there.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
exactly.
And are you still offering, some meetings strictly in person and some meetings Zoom? Are you offering hybrids or
Yeah,
where
so
are you?
we're doing hybrids right now.
Okay.
FAR has been in person, so but the other ones are are hybrid.
I was gonna say, that's not me.
That's me.
We're down
Sorry.
to about 2 minutes. I know time goes fast. So might be a good time just to reiterate to the public how they can reach you.
Sure. So definitely stopping in the office is probably the easiest way, or calling the peer support line number, 802-234-1010, and someone will answer it.
Mhm.
That's probably the easiest way to get connected.
Great.
And we have your
We have-
information up.
missed it.
Just to kind of leave the audience with some thoughts, if somebody in the audience has someone in their lives that needs help, what would be your advice for their first steps for that
Call.
person? Call.
Call.
And then you can then walk them through. So even if the person, so I'm talking like maybe a family member or
Yeah.
something, because sometimes I'm assuming that's where it starts, right? A family member reaches out to y'all and,
Yeah. It's like great, but it's great if like the person reaches out, they gotta want it.
Yeah.
Basically.
sometimes it's hard to get there, but
Oh,
yeah.
of course, of course.
Yeah, but we can absolutely support the family in how to support the person.
Perfect.
Great.
Great.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on today.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
been,
you.
you're doing good work, and I hope you keep doing it, and I hope it gets better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Always. It will.
All right. I think that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week. This has been The Feed with Mike and Marty. See you
Bye,
guys.
community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music.